So what do you call it when the government quietly deletes 1,400 careers from existence and hopes that you're too afraid to notice? We call it modern American politics. They tell you that America is the land of opportunity, that anyone can study hard, get a degree, build a life, contribute to society. You know, the classic pick yourself up by your bootstraps folklore. But apparently, the U.S. Department of Education missed the memo because they are proposing to shrink the list of recognized professional degrees from around 2,000 down to fewer than 600. That's not trimming fat, that's amputating limbs. And here's the kicker. If your degree gets knocked off of the professional list, you may no longer qualify for federal student loans. Translation, work hard, follow the rules until we change the rules. So, which careers are on the chopping block? Oh, only the ones that are dominated by, wait for it, women. Counselors, therapists, early childhood educators, social workers, allied health workers, all of the people who actually keep society functioning while everyone else argues about it on the internet. And these roles aren't just jobs. They are mandatory reporters, the people who are legally required to report things like child abuse, elder abuse, domestic violence, trafficking, self-harm. So if we shrink these professions, we shrink the number of people who can blow the whistle when someone is in danger. It's funny to me how the government always seems to find ways to cut jobs held by women and the jobs that expose the worst things happening behind closed doors. But it gets better. While the federal government is quietly kneecapping women's professions, Texas politicians are busy auditioning for a fear-based reality show. Law and Order, Special Panic Unit, dun dun. In the political justice system, fear-based offenses are considered especially useful. The government is declaring specific Muslim civil rights organizations as foreign terrorist groups. Actual community organizations labeled like they're plotting a Bond villain takeover. And he's warning Texans about secret attempts to impose Islamic law. So apparently, to the governor and his legislative cronies, the biggest threat to our state isn't corruption, infrastructure collapse, or skyrocketing property taxes. It's your peaceful Muslim neighbor who just picked up their groceries at H-E-B. As an analyst by trade and an autistic by genetics, I have a particularly keen sense for pattern recognition. So let's take a look at the pattern. Women's degrees reclassified. Mandatory reporters reduced. Muslim communities demonized. Civil rights organizations labeled as terrorists. This isn't about education. This isn't about safety. It's about fear as policy, fear as governance, fear as the tool of the so-called leaders who have nothing else to offer. When politicians are terrified of educated women, terrified of professionals who can report abuse, terrified of civil rights advocacy groups, you have to ask, what are they really so afraid of? And this is where people tell me, Darren, you should run, as if the next logical steps are to impale yourself, throw yourself onto a burning dumpster fire, and hope that someone remembers to turn you and brings the barbecue sauce. But if the only people running for office are the ones who benefit from fear, or the ones who are too afraid to challenge it, then who's left to fight for the people who actually live with the consequences? Because here's the truth, this isn't a country falling apart despite what certain groups have repeatedly stated. It's a country being hollowed out by leaders who are terrified of an educated, empowered, and unafraid public. So maybe the real question isn't, should I even bother running? Maybe the question is, how much worse can it get if I don't? What do you think? Are fear-based politicians the greatest threat to our democracy right now? Drop your thought in the comments and share this with someone who's tired of being governed by cowards.